Hello fans of Marvel Heroes and friends of my channel, my name is Wilfred and welcome to this episode of Q&A whereby there are quite a lot of things going on in this game. The rebranding finally has happened. We are being called the Marvel Heroes Omega officially for the PC world. I've got a little bit of insight on where things are going. A lot of questions these days on the license and so on. I don't have definitive answer, but I mean there are quite a few information are picked up here and there, and also because of the patch 2.13, there are some kind of like cosmic version of the artifact being added to the event vendors, and I've got a lot of questions from the new players as well. I mean, how do you get all these like artifacts and so on? If it doesn't drop for you because you don't really have good luck, how should you progress in the game? And there are quite a number of like artifacts that you can get from various event vendors, and I would like to just take this opportunity to walk through some of these items with you, share my view with you on which are the one that probably is good to look into. Now in the past, I will run through some kind of mathematics modeling on each of the artifacts and rank it across each other, but unfortunately because right now on the PC side we don't even have the Omega gear, so it's very hard to gauge like where things are. I wouldn't want to just redo everything again and again, but I will give you some kind of like you know, from my experience what I think about certain gears and so on. First thing first, and we are now rebranded as the Marvel Heroes Omega, so same as the PS4 as well as Xbox as well. And I think in the patch note it is reinstated that we remain as a lead product, the PC versions, although there has been a lot of like noises going on, a lot of like concern, complaint, whatnot, because we can only see where this game is heading in a sense by what we have today. So you know, it is, well, I think it's understandable that some people are rather upset that the gap between the biggest update ever to the Omega gear is such a long kind of like a period of time, because if you recall back in the first time when the Omega kind of like patch is being communicated, or biggest update ever was being communicated, first of all it wasn't meant to be that late until January this year, but second of all is that they mentioned that the biggest update ever and the Omega patch is just going to be like 1 or 2 months kind of, you know, in between, and that's why they turn off all the unique gear exchange and recipe exchange, because they say the gap is not going to be that wide. But now we are looking into the gap of what, I mean, more than half a year, if not, well, actually more than half a year. So it seems that they have turned off certain things way before they are ready to release certain things. I don't know what happened, but I think that probably contributed a lot of unhappiness in the forum. People are not looking, you know, too well on this game, and it's rather sad though, because if you look at the Steam review, prior to biggest update ever, people are still generally quite happy about the game. It's mostly positive. I remember a lot of good positive like feedback, you know, in the game, because I play other free to play games or whatever games I play. In Steam, the review matter, because when you look at a game, everybody just vote it down, and you don't really feel like downloading it because there are so many other games to play in this time and space, right? So this is rather unfortunate that the whole biggest update ever, you know, although to the console it's a big win, but for the PC, I think the whole communication could have been managed a lot better. You know, they should have either, you know, don't turn off all this unique recipe when things are not ready, and by and large just like, you know, announce the time, right? Say for example, if you were to tell people that biggest update ever is on January and the and Omega patch is 1 year later, so people can make a conscious decision: do you want to farm items now or do you farm items later? So those sort of things I thought would have been better if there's a lot of clear communication where things are, so that we all have, you know, rather than just wait 1 month after another, and you spend a lot of time farming until a point whereby you are bored and you're not really, you know, wanting to get any gear anymore, whether it's Omega gear or not, you know, I don't care, stuff like that. But I mean, good news is that I've got you know, a friend in my YouTube channel as well who also from Gazillion, and so like, I mean, these are just his personal view. Don't take it too like, you know, like, you know, what's going to happen. But a couple of things that is kind of encouraging as well, because, you know, that, you know, people have been asking, will the PC have Omega gear? Well, the answer is yes. So, you know, that's good, and they are also focusing on the new heroes content feature improvement. So in a sense, I mean, they are still committed to to improving the game in the PC world, and we will be expecting to see the Omega Gear as well as the Omega Trial. So we have the Cosmic Trial, we have the Omega Trial. I do not know whether I'm really looking forward to the Omega Trial or not, but I think for a lot of you who has been spending a lot of time to farm gear and so on, that probably be quite a good progress, because for some of the veterans, we have seen the old contents many times. Even with the Daily Bugle that just released, I don't think I really have that much chance or time to play that. Some people farm it for 200, 400, 500 times for the legendary items inside. I mean, I think personally I prefer something more random these days, like Diablo 3, kind of thing that the game content kind of change every time when you approach a game. It gives you a little bit different kind of flavor to it. That is what I'm looking for, like Path of Exile, different affixes that make the map kind of different when you approach it. But doing the same, I feel a little bit like a machine or robot. But that's just my personal view. I think a lot of questions on the license as well. Now this is of course a very hard topic to discuss, because it kind of anything they talk about will be taken maybe in a different way, because if they tell you that 2019 license is in question mark, what will you do? Will you still buy? Will you still invest gold? Still buy the G pack? But if you were to say that, well, there's a very high chance that the PC license will be renewed to another 10 years, then you say, well, what is high chance? If there's 5% chance that it doesn't work, does it mean that I will still lose all my G and stuff like that? So whatever they say, it's going to lose in game anyway. So they've been keeping mum about the whole thing probably until the whole license is being sorted out. But one thing for sure, though, is that they have the console license different from the PC license. And well, good for the console people, because I think console, if I'm not wrong, I mean, console just started developing probably a couple of years ago. So for 10 years kind of license typically will probably last for a couple more years to go for. For the PC though, it's another 2 more years to go, so I do not know what's going to happen within 2 years. But again, I will not be too hung up on this one, because although we do love a game here and there, but sometimes a game may become irrelevant even before it turned dark. Example, Firefall, not quite sure how many of you have played Firefall before. I did, and I contributed money in it as well. It was a free-to-play game, very much like, got shoot and stuff like that. And I think just on the 7th of July, finally it has gone dark. So the server just went boom, like that. But looking back, was I upset? I mean, not really, because it has become irrelevant long before it went down anyway. I had a lot of good time with Firefall, and they had also their biggest update ever. If for those who want to know a little bit more about that game, is that the problem is that the lack of content, the presence of a lot of bugs, and the whole the crafting revamp that people don't really like it, and the way that they try to sell suits or whatever they call it, frames, try to sell the frame. Previously you can unlock a certain way, and just rub people the wrong way. So it sounds very much like the biggest update ever in Marvel Heroes, at least from my opinion, looking at the Firefall kind of event. A lot of lessons learned from there anyway. Okay, so now enough part talking about the whole Marvel Heroes Omega for PC, as well as the what is to come on the PC world, how the license is going to be. I mean, take what it is, like I said before, it'll probably be long, you probably, I mean, there are so many games out there, really. I do not confess that a lot of my friends are still with this game. A lot of my friends who joined me in this game in the very beginning, I think they've already moved on to other things. Some of them don't even want to come back. Even when they do, they just look at it. It's very much the same old thing. Terminal is just a terminal kind of thing. So yeah. Okay, so now next part, let's talk a little bit about the new artifacts come up. So if you look at Agent Dum Dugan, Dugan, he has a new kind of artifact that's been sold. Now, for those who are new to this game, just hold the Alt key when you mouse over the items, and you can see how good the rolls are. Now, when the rolls are bad, you don't need to buy it unless you are really urgently need it. You can press the refresh button, and all these number and affixes will get randomized again. So I would not propose that you just grab one of this item because you have enough currency, and then you use your credit and your unstable molecule to keep re-rolling the artifact, both the affixes as well as the cosmic affix, just to get the roll that you want, or the affixes that you want. You just use this refresh button to get a free one. It has a limit to how many you can do per day. So what I'll do is I'll just keep re-rolling, and depends if I have a couple of heroes that I'm leveling, I may keep a lookout for some of these good ones they have. But that's about it. Okay, so let's take a look at the the items that you have here. Now this is a this is the artifact for the energy and the intelligence hero. So if you take a look at the +6 to attribute, so 6 times 4 is the percentage, 24% to the damage, base damage. So whatever base damage you see in your spreadsheet is 24%. That will roughly translate to, well, that will definitely translate to times 40. It is a 960 damage rating. Now 960 damage rating is actually, it's alright, it's not that exciting. The problem with this artifact, from my perspective, is that you do not, it doesn't come with the crit and brutal part to it, because that is a multiplier. Without a multiplier, 900 odd damage rating is just 900 odd damage rating. It doesn't really, unless you have a really high crit and then you're lacking on the attribute itself. So this one doesn't excite me. Next one is interesting because it gives you the physical as well as brutal. Is alright. I mean, 500 odd physical damage would be what this one's 551. 551 would be 13.78% of the physical damage buff. But I like the brutal strike rating. It's not really that high, but it's alright. But the problem is that this one requires you to drop below a certain health and gain a +9 fightings. So you have to sort of like figure out which are the fighting heroes that would be able to at least try to make use of this one. But it's a half a minute cooldown kind of thing. I don't really like the first proc. I mean, I'm quite particular when I play this game because the proc may or may not happen during the moment that you want it to be. So that's one. Another one is that this one gives you summon power and 400 damage rating to summon power and +2 energy. So what it really means is that oops, sorry, let me just my calculator is a little bit wonky right now. So it's 80 damage rating. So all in all is 80 plus another 400. So it's a 480 damage rating, or just about 12%. So it's not really a lot, and the problem with the summoner these days is that how often do you see a summoner that has everything as a summon, like every single thing have attack to summon, like some of this is summon, this is I don't know. I mean, there are not many power even as a summoner that will have the summon tag to it. So this one in the old day probably, but even so, the main spender is very hard to find one that has a summon tag to it. So I'm not really that optimistic on this one either. This one is kind of nice as well, though. By the way, you have the 300 damage rating. Then I like the crit hit that go along with it. I also like the crit damage that go along with it. The problem with this artifact is so hard to get the maximum roll for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 affixes. Even if you ignore the flat rating, it still have 6 affixes to roll, 5 affixes to roll. Do the mathematics, is almost quite impossible to get a BIS out from this one. And also, which hero really does the strength and speed heroes? Not really a lot, really. Maybe just a 1 or 2. Anyhow, so this one also not that exciting. The next one is this one is very much on the range side. This one actually not bad. If you think about it, you have the brutal rating 417, crit rating 417, and also a flat kind of like damage of 417. So everything just 417 to it. It is all right. I mean, I wouldn't really like. I think yeah, it's actually pretty decent for this one. For range power though, if you would like to go for pure range, I think this one is it's something that I may purchase if I have a good roll for this one. So you can just keep rolling like this one here. until maybe if I get a max like all green, I'll probably be grabbing one. But of course, the cosmic affixes as well. This is so hard to get all this row right. It's a 1, 2. Yeah, it's so many rows that you need to. So anyway, so these are the ones, and they have the rings as well. So this is the pure area ring. This is a nice ring, I would say. Just that it doesn't have the health kind of like affixes to it. I think they are trying to move away the health affixes into somewhere else, be as the cosmic affixes or some other gear kind of thing. So, but anyway, I think the way I see it is that there are lesser and lesser heroes with the area kind of full area kind of heroes. I mean, they're nerfing quite a lot of heroes from pure area to something else. Like for example, Angela was used to be a pure area hero. You could spec as one, but then that has been ripped off from her. So there aren't really a lot that can do pure area. But if you could, then this could be quite a nice kind of ring to it. And the good thing about this one is that it is agnostic to a damage type, so you could do a hybrid and still benefit from this ring. Next one is the one of the 9. It is really for fighting intelligent summoner that does melee and ranged. So do the mathematics or go through your whole roster and ask yourself how many heroes are able to do fighting, intelligence, summon, melee, and ranged. If you found those, then yeah, I mean, this one's for you. I don't think there aren't really a lot to it. So, all in all, I wish that they, because I think there are artifacts are very hard to come by. I think unless you have many hours just to grind the same thing again. It's one of those frustrations in the game that I personally find. A lot of my artifacts are found through the event itself. I mean, the boxes and whatnot that I can open up and get the artifact there. I don't really see often, like the main apes, Gorilla Nicholas. Even in my days when I play almost every day for hours, I don't really see one. I didn't even see one at all. Seriously, I mean, you've seen so many videos of mine. You will have caught some of this around, right? You may think, no, it never happened to me. So. So I was really wishing that they put something more generic inside here, but that's just my thought to it. So I don't play Left 4 Dead 2, no. Okay, the next one here, the vendor for the armor event. Now I'm a little bit disappointed though. Actually, I'm tremendously disappointed by the way that they designed the artifact without going back to the old one and revisit. Now, let me tell you why. Because if you take a look at this one here, the Nano Poison, I have a lot of unhappiness on this one, because before the biggest update ever, this was the artifact for all the melee heroes. They can benefit from this, like when you hit with a melee, even when you're at melee range as well, it doesn't really matter, because you can have the brutal and brutal damage rating. Those are generic, can apply to anything, even for hybrid, even for melee range kind of heroes. But what they've done is that they couldn't, I don't know how in the world they dream out of the 6 attributes they have to do fighting, durability, strength. What about intelligence? What about speed? What about energy? Right? I mean, it's just so random the way they design gear. I mean, but then the thing is that they realized that this was a mistake, right? Because if you take a look at the cosmic version, they rectify it. This is a +2 to all attribute. This is good design, right? I mean, this should have been the design of the biggest update ever. I don't know who did biggest update ever. I think that was totally disastrous in many ways, because the artifact becomes so restrictive until you just can't fit it to any of those heroes, and you keep shifting the gears around unnecessarily because you can't continue playing. You just have to shift all the gears around for 60 heroes, close to 60 by that, during that time. So I mean, this is a good design. +2 to all attribute is a sane design. People finally get it, that you can't restrict an artifact such tightly bind to the archetype. It's not fun trying to farm the gear, and when the gear drop, it's like, oops, who in my roster can do strength and speed, right? You see what I mean? I mean, that is bad design, terrible design. So this is good. So let's just go through what are the cosmic version of it, and see which one is good, which one is not. So this one is that it has a lot of crit, brutal damage is not really good anyway because of the overall nerf to crit and brutal after biggest update ever. And also 10% chance. You see, this kind of proc is very not transparent. You think it's a 20-second cooldown, but if you really time it, I bet you it's more like every half a minute kind of thing to gain the kind of rating. And also, the problem with all these Marvel heroes kind of like design is that the when you need it, it's not there. Unlike say Diablo 3, you can deliberately delay certain kind of massive buff until the Guardian come out, and then you pop certain things, and then bam, one shot the Guardian. For example, in the Rift, you can't do it here. All these are very, very like this kind of thing. Rank 5, 60-minute cooldown, whatnot. But when I need it, can I have it? I can't have it because it's proc. So again, I mean, I wouldn't go too deep on this one. It is like not really like a Gem of the Curse without the creep to it, is it? Right. So I'll skip this one. Next one is that it's a 250 to range power, which is not really that much. +1 to all attributes. So this one also quite poor. I wouldn't buy this one. The next one is that there are crit to it, 250 crit, 350 damage, +2 to all attributes. So now we are talking here. Now +2 to all attribute would give you 4 times 4 times 40, so it's 650 plus whatever damage rating 350 plus 350, so it gives me close to 1000 damage rating. It's a flat one, so this is pretty generic. I quite like this one though, but the only comment I have is that the crit seems to be a little bit low, on the low side, but it's better than just purely on damage type. So I think for those heroes that you find lacking in the attribute or the flat damage kind of like component, while you're very high crit based on the passive design and whatnot, this one could be rather nice one. And of course the next one is this guy here. It is nice because 150, let's take a look at that. You can stack up to 3 times, so it's 450 brutal strike rating. It's pretty decent. With the new formula, brutal damage rating, I don't really look into that anymore these days. It's kind of the weakest kind of affix compared to the rest, like crit chance, crit damage rating that benefit the brutal as well, and the and whatnot. Right. So next one here is that this is more of the hybrid thingy. That when you hit with physical, gain brutal. When you hit with mental, get this. When you hit with energy, get that. So my only comment is that there are actually less and less. Well, thank you so much, very much. Yeah, some people, you guys warm my heart with all these very nice comments. The only thing is that there are actually less and less hero that does the area and the try build kind of thing. You can do all 3 power. I can't say for sure what is going to happen. I think before the biggest update ever, like Doctor Doom, this one is rather nice, but they saw like the nerf the whole entire Doctor Doom tri-build, no specialization kind of like options. So I mean, things like this is all right. I mean, I don't think it excites me anymore. I probably wouldn't invest in more of this because, say if I'm done with one hero, I don't really like it. So I don't think I can just transfer out to another heroes really. So that one I'll skip. The Cosmically Enhanced Armor Alternative Reality Chaos Portal. Wow, that is very, very long name. Cosmically Enhanced Armor Alternative Reality Chaos Portal is the I think it's the de facto kind of like artifact for the summoner, because it has the, I mean, the health is not really useful, I would say. Then you will probably go for the damage to summon power. You'll go for the crit and the, well, they don't have brutal. Anyway, so that is pretty nice for summoner. What I really wish though is that they allow us to sell the old artifact like this one that become useless for quite a lot of heroes. You can sell it off for 900 armor reserve drive and just top it up to the cosmic version. I mean, that would be rather nice. I mean, how many do I have anyway? I have 18,000. I don't know whether it's good or bad, but I mean, there's something that people could try out as well. I mean, get some decent stuff like that. I don't think they have done the cosmic yet. I mean, the cosmic chaos one. There's one there also. So, like I said, I mean, if you, I mean, it's quite rare this day to find the 3 energy, mental, physical kind of thing. But I think, all in all, I don't think physical is nice proc anyway. I think if you are energy mental heroes, then you may want to take note of this rather massive kind of like a it's basically a boss killer if you think about it. The flat damage is rather high. I mean, the 17.4, I bet is not even maxed out yet. Say if, I don't know what's the range like. Last time I used to remember, and nowadays I don't remember this sort of thing anymore. I'm just guessing like 20%, it's 40, so it's 800 plus another, maybe, I don't know. So I think this is like over 1,500 kind of like damage rating against a boss. It's not a bad thing actually. So you know, for energy and mental kind of thing, physical not really. Dodge, I mean, if you're gonna die, you're gonna die already. I mean that 700 whatever dodge power is not going to help you anyhow. So let's take a look at the last but not the least. I want to complete my my discussion on the artifacts that you can buy without relying too much on your luck or the lack of it. Is that you could go into the danger room as well. There are a couple of nice artifacts that you could do. And the let me just continue talking about this one. The danger room artifact is how many danger room kind of thing I have? I have the danger room is by the, I think it's one of these guys here. Oh yeah, 22,000. I don't know whether it's good or not. I think it's all right. It's actually not that good. You don't really get much from it because the currency is so high anyway. So they have the cosmic version as well. So I'm going to go through them if you don't mind. Just for the new player, man. I mean, I think you guys still trying to learn the game and try to play the game and stuff like that. No, this one I don't. +2 fighting, chunk of health, and it's only danger room status kind of like mobs. I mean, no, thank you. Then the next one is that. It gives you the, well, I mean, quite a lot of damage rating here, but again, it's the area. Just bear that in mind. You have the 6 times 4 times 40 would be 960 damage rating plus another 600. That would be like 1,500, 660. So it's a huge boost, and that is before the 5% to boss will give you another 5%, and 5 times 40 is wow. Okay, so it's quite a lot of stuff going on. So this one will give you quite a massive kind of like damage rating, but it's very flat damage rating. I think you just have to bear in mind that majority of the power is area, if not all, and also the you have a sufficient crit and brutal that support this one, but it's massive. This one is massive against the bosses. So this one is nice. Next one is also nice, I remember, because it gives you a lot of nice crit, nice brutal. But the problem is that it's a brutal damage. So brutal damage is like, you know, I'm not really into it. So if you are energy and intelligent kind of like a hero, then you actually get quite a fair bit of thing from it. The only thing I don't like is just that the brutal damage is kind of like, I'd rather have it as a crit chance or brutal chance, that's all. So I mean, it's all right. Some people may call it BIS. I say, well, you know, maybe yeah, if you are doing mental and area in everything you do, yeah, possibly. This one gives you quite a fair bit of good deals, but again, brutal damage, I can strike it off like, doesn't really matter. If you can't roll, you get green for everything, but the red on brutal damage, don't sweat about it, just accept it as it is. I mean, you know, brutal damage is not going to help you too much. But the it gives you a crit damage and health and strength. I mean, it's alright. It doesn't really excite me, this one here, because it's not really that high in the damage, and nor it has a sufficient crit to it, chance or brutal chance, so nope. And this one also not that exciting to me, because it's it's weakened, and I know there are some heroes that can make use of a weakened status to do certain things. I just am not the type that like all this stuff that's going on, because it's very hard to see what is all enemy, like within 9 yard, within 10 yard, within 20 yard, within 30 yard. I don't know. I can't really see things on the mobs, and I can't be certain that what happened to it. But in any case, again, there's no crit to it, so I wouldn't really do anything about it. And this one also not that exciting. Brutal damage, like I said, just strike off. But I don't think there are that many heroes that deal exclusively brutal. I know there are some heroes that does a lot of brutal, for some power that's guaranteed brutal, or some ultimate that's always brutal, but I wouldn't really spec for that kind of scenario, really. I want to benefit my whole entire kind of like, you know, all the toolkit here. I want to do it. This one also not excite me that much because it's a flat damage 700, what is 700, and there's no crit, no brutal, so to me it's kind of rubbish. And it's only movement. There aren't really a lot of heroes that does everything as movement, the whole entire roster, right? I mean, the Danger Room still have a place in my heart in terms of the in terms of all these like unique gear, right? But the thing is that some ask me, why am I hoarding so much currency? Well, the reason why is that with the Omega patch, I have no idea how the whole thing works. I mean, what if the Omega ring, if they have, is going to trump all these things that you have here, and they'll put an Omega ring here for you to buy. So the thing is that I can't return the thing that I bought before for the currency, so why would I want to spend it now, especially when I don't need it now? I mean, what kind of content do I need to play that require me to get BIS on every single slot? None really. So that is all from me, and I hope you sort of like gain some insight on where the game is going, get some hints or some guidance on which artifact you are doing. As I always say, you know, you can always upgrade your gear along the way. You don't have to, like, you know, sweat yourself too much of that. You have to get the Gem of the Curse. You have to get the you know, that the artifact and whatnot. I don't think so. My gear is rather average. A lot of them, you guys know about it. But I mean, I still enjoy myself. I still play some of the harder content, whatever you call it, and have a fair bit of fun here and there. So, you know, don't sweat too much about it. But in the event whereby you want to spend some money buying some of these things, and you could. By the way, I don't recall she's in this kind of costume before. Have they done like visual updates on her, or just that today I'm sort of like more mellowed down and sort of like, you know, appreciating what's around me more? Okay, I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Drop me a question below if you want, and the link also lead you to my website that gives you a lot more guides in a more organized, updated manner. See you next time. Goodbye.